Okay, guys, so the battery came shipped 13.2 volts, which I think is pretty close to a full charge. Came with these connectors, nice little manual, very well packaged, double-sided box. I have no idea how it showed up in one day. And it didn't say that it was supposed to be here until Monday, which would have been, I ordered it Thursday morning. So let's see, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It was supposed to get here basically in 4 days. It got here in one day. It's a Friday afternoon, and we're already opening up the boxes and getting ready to set this thing up. That's crazy. So the $203 for it is the cheapest price I've ever seen on this particular one. And this one is supposed to have the low temperature and high temperature cutoff. There is no Bluetooth in the BMS. Those ones are actually quite a bit more at like I think they're like $299 or $269. Anyway, I don't really care about that. I'm going from lead acid. I've already got some lithium ion. So I think what we'll probably do, just to keep it safe, since there's no load being used on the POW MR and it just charges the big 100 amp hour 24 volt battery bank, we'll put these in place there because they're the same capacity. I really wanted to just get a single battery like that. I really don't like having multiple 12 volt batteries, but it does give you some flexibility. If you wanted to do some really weird like 36 volt system or something goofy, you could do that. So now we got to get the other battery out and see how it looks. So, alright, so let's get this one open. I always like to use a knife like this because that way I'm less likely to reach in and damage something. It's one of the advantages of the funny little Tonto blade. Alright. So these are really, really well packaged in my opinion. I guess they probably all come double box. Another thing too, what I'm going to do, the tops and bottoms are the same. I'm going to use this, the battery is going to sit in this. And, okay, so they're well packaged. They get the manual, and they give you the certification sticker and some desiccant packages. It's like a nicely made product manual. I actually hadn't looked in the other one yet. Very reminiscent of what you get when you order Lifetime batteries. Maybe they're the same company. And there's some certificates that they've shown you in here. So they say what you can do, blah blah blah. You can parallel a certain amount of batteries. Maximum support is 4 series, 4 parallel. That's a lot. So let's see the schematics they show you. So this is like great for like somebody that has no clue. They have all the information in here. They show you. Okay, this is how you need to connect this if you don't know any better. 2 series, 2 parallel. And what they don't tell you is the total amp hours, which kind of is a little misleading. But so they've got these two for 24 volts and they're in parallel, so you'd have 200 amp hours over here. And then you have like a 3 series, which I'm not sure why they call it 12 volt, but anyway, 3 series would be 36 volt. Now, I always wondered, did you parallel every single cell? No, they parallel it after the end of the series, which might make it easier to balance if you had jumpers in between. This is 4 series 2 parallel. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This would be 48 volt, and it would be 200 amp hours at 48 volts. So you need 8 batteries. That would be like $1,600 just to buy all those. But I don't know what that capacity ends up, comparing to the battery racks. So they give you the specs on the battery here. They show you the other battery. This catalog is probably for all their batteries. Charge voltage 14.2, 14.6, 2,000 cycles at 100% DOD, up to 5,000 cycles at 80%. At 23 pounds, 23.8 pounds weight. I thought it felt like about 30, but 100 amps maximum continuous charging current, 100 max continuous discharge current, max load inverter power, 1.280 watts. So you would need two of these to be at about 2.56 kW, according to their information anyway. Do all the different batteries they sell. The smart battery. So this is the one that you would get if you want Bluetooth, and I'm pretty sure it's just the same battery, just the Bluetooth on the BMS. So this company does sell inverters and stuff like that too. They're obviously rebadged. They sell these batteries too, like I guess a battery station, like a Blue Eddy or whatever, Eco. And then they've got these are cool. These portable batteries, this is what you want. I mean, like 5 kilowatt portable storage on wheels, 10 kilowatt portable storage on wheels. Man, I'd love to have that. So it gives you a list of like what you should have your charge controller set at, and this and that. So we'll just go over it really quick. I'm just gonna, let me see if I can get this a little bit better of a position. So the setting method of MPPT of the inverter of 12.8, 25.6, 38.4, and 51.2 volt batteries are as follows. The 12.8 LifePo battery pack settings. Charging limit voltage 14.2. Over voltage disconnect 14.6. Over voltage reconnect voltage 13.8. Float charge voltage 13.8. Low voltage disconnect 11.6. Low voltage reconnect 14.4. Under voltage warning 12.8. Like, they literally give you all the information you could possibly ever want when trying to figure this out. Now, some of these might be named a little bit differently in your inverter. So then they have like common problems, how to activate the BMS. Please use 18 volt solar powers to directly charge the batteries. This is quite strange. When the battery cannot be charged or discharged, please measure the voltage of the battery first. If the battery voltage is below 9 voltage, we guess that the BMS of the battery has turned on the low voltage protection function. You need to activate the battery's BMS, then the battery can work normally. How to activate the battery's BMS? Answer: please use 18 volt solar photovoltaic cells to directly charge the battery. When the battery voltage reaches about 11, the battery's BMS will activate. You can also use 12 and 24 and 36 volt photovoltaic panels to activate the battery's BMS. Please use the 14.6 lithium iron phosphate battery special charger with 0 volt charging function to charge the battery. When the battery voltage reaches 11, the battery's BMS can also be activated. If you have another same battery and the voltage of this battery is higher than 13, you can connect the two batteries in parallel. When the battery with the low voltage reaches 11, the BMS is also activated. This is a really good information here, guys. I'm actually impressed they've really thought this out. I think because also it's easier to do this and have so many stupid questions and support issues. When I go into a bunch of other stuff, how to judge whether the battery is fully charged. When the battery cannot be fully charged, please check the following. Please check the DC output voltage of the charger is between 14.2 and 14.6. If the charging voltage is between 14.2, the battery will not be fully charged. So that's good information too. B, if the solar voltaic panel is charging the battery, please set the controller of the MPPT to 14.2, 14.4. Please refer to the setting in the controller. When the battery is charged more than 95% of the capacity, please continue to charge the battery with a charging current of less than 10 amps, and then you can fully charge the battery. The charging voltage of 12.8 LiFePO batteries is 14.2 to 14.6. The charging voltage of 25.6 batteries is 28.4, 29.2. I'll have to check my settings, but when the voltage, how to judge whether the battery is fully charged. When you remove the battery from the charging unit, the voltage will gradually decrease from about 14.3 to about 13.6. Also, please leave the battery for about 12 hours. When the battery is not connected to any load, controller, and other things, the voltage is 13.4, 13.8. Okay? It means the battery is fully charged. When the battery is connected to the load, the battery voltage will have dropped about 0.5 volts, and the magnitude of the voltage drop is determined by the size of the load. The specific reasons are as follows. For example, when the battery is not connected to any load, the voltage is 13.6. It means the battery is fully charged. If this battery is connected to controllers, inverters, and household appliances, this voltage will drop around 0.7 volts. The battery may be 13.0, 13.2, at which point the battery is also fully charged. How much voltage drops depending on the wattage connected to the battery load. Okay, so precautions for connecting multiple batteries in series and parallel. To connect multiple identical LiPo batteries in parallel, the voltage difference between each battery is required to be less than 0.5 volts or 500 millivolts. Note the greater voltage difference between the batteries, the high voltage battery will directly charge the low voltage battery when connected in parallel. So much for setting up my solar. You hear the storm coming? Okay. We get a lot of power outages here too, but we do have solar. So I always have that battery, the big battery over there is always charged, and I can get 3,000 watts if I need it if the power goes out. So I have this other system completely all separated by itself. So 255 watt panels charge that 100 amp hour battery. Okay, so I want to go over this before I get all excited and hook up batteries, just for my own purpose too, just to see if they have anything interesting. To connect identical batteries in parallel, the voltage difference must be less than 500 millivolts. The greater the voltage difference between the batteries, the high voltage battery will directly charge the low voltage battery when connected in parallel, forming a reverse current. The greater the voltage difference, the greater the reverse current. To connect multiple identical batteries in series, the voltage difference between each battery is required to be lower than 300 millivolts. When you connect 4 12.8 batteries in series and parallel to form a 25.6 200 amp hour pack, if the 25.6 battery has been used for more than 6 months, or you find the battery capacity is obviously less than 200 amp, or the charging voltage of the device is 28.4 to 9 but 25.6, the battery still cannot be fully charged, please balance the battery voltage manually. Yeah, that makes sense. The manual method of balancing the voltage of multiple identical batteries is as follows. Suppose you have 4 12-volt batteries that need to be balanced voltage manually. Please remove all the batteries and cables and use a 12-volt DC 14.2 14.6 charger to fully charge the 4 batteries separately. Please connect the batteries in parallel to become 12.8 800 amp hour. Let the 4 batteries stand in parallel for more than 12 hours and then test the voltage of the 4 batteries respectively. If the voltage of the difference of the 4 batteries is less than 300 millivolts, please reinstall your 4 batteries. The process may ensure that all batteries are not connected to any loads such as inverters. blah, 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 blah. If the voltage difference between the two connected batteries is less than 30 millivolts, please contact us. Precautions for battery storage. And here's the state of charge chart, which is really nice. So if we look at here, it says 11.168 is where they got the state of charge is 0. So according to this, 12.8 LiPo battery laboratory test for reference only. The battery capacity could be roughly estimated by its voltage. The studies of the differences below the parameters are for reference only. The voltage needs to be tested at rest with 0 current after 120 minutes of disconnecting. Okay, so 11.6 they say is 0. 12.8 is 10%. 13.09 is 20. 13.21 is 30%, which is where we're at, I guess. 13.22 is 40%. 13.23 is 50. So if it reads 13.4, basically you're on 100%. So these are 30% charged according to their chart. And that would be it for this manual. That is a really nice, well-printed manual, guys. I am actually liking it. We can take our other thing here. Let's get this battery out of here, but we're going to take our other meter also, just so we can verify more than one source. Let me get this out of here. Okay. So what we're going to do is move this. I'm going to set the battery like that. For one thing, it stops the bottom from getting scratched up. But let me get my other meter, my favorite. My orange meter. My orange Fluke knockoff. And then we have this meter already ready to go. Let's get these caps off of here. Let's see what this one's charged at. Okay. Same. 13.19, 13.2. Okay. So now we're going to use this one here. Let's go ahead and see. Reads different. 13.15. Let me check my other battery. $13.15. So the meters read differently. This is a 6,000 count meter. That's a 10,000 count meter, or 9999, whatever the hell. I do have a Fluke meter. We'll pull that out and check it with that. This is just kind of an opportunity for me to play around with meters. Okay. $13.22. I'm gonna trust this. Both of them $13.22. So Fluke don't lie. And this is a good meter for that kind of stuff where I don't need it to be RMS. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. I think RMS really comes into play when you're measuring like AC voltage more than anything else. But so what we want to do is we need to go find a jumper, and then I need to either put them quickly into service over here, or hook them up over there with the 24 volt. And I think what I'd rather do is leave the PAL MR alone, because I want to get these lead acid batteries out of here. So this is the size difference that we're looking at between a 24 volt battery and two 12 volt batteries. So we're going to swap these out and put them in place of where this one was. And we'll just kind of safely watch it. I definitely wish I had more money for more of these, but I don't know the quality of these yet, so that's why I don't want to order too many of them, but I want to go to a 48 volt system and have an auxiliary 24 volt so that I can still use my old inverters. So the idea or the goal is to have about 10 or 12 kilowatt system. Another thing, we can see the batch number, and then 75 and 87, 24058, 240058, 075, and 087. So these are fairly close. Maybe the same people built them. Should be some consistency there, hopefully. They're just going to go over there where that was. And I'm going to put the foam on the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and install them like this, I guess. I was going to put them like back to back, but it was forcing me to have to scoot things over a little more than I wanted to. And get into this package here. They bubble wrapped some screws like a million times, which is nice, but they look like they might be stainless steel screws. They're actually pretty heavy. So I don't know if we can fit our pieces through here or not. Looks like I guess we can. Hopefully my terminals will fit. Figure out blow it in or out. I usually like to have them sticking in, but they're not sticking out. Let's see, what I like about these is the screws have a Phillips on them. So you can actually get in and tighten them fairly easily without going real tight. See, a good quality screwdriver, like snap-on one, where it's the correct size for this. And then we'll slip our covers over and get them to go. That'll give us a little bit of protection on the thing. It doesn't want to go. I'm kind of blocking the carrying straps a little bit with this, but the issue isn't really a problem because you're not going to carry these batteries connected together. Okay, so now an important step of doing this, if you're new, when you hook up batteries like this to an inverter, you need to use either a light bulb, a resistor, a carpenter's pencil, or something. Very few inverters will actually connect without making a gigantic spark. And that's because there's capacitors inside the inverter, and they look like a dead short to the battery because they're trying to charge. So I have a bunch of different resistors that I like to use. But you can connect one of the leads first, and that won't be a problem. This is I don't know what gauge this wire is. It's about adequate enough for this and not a lot more. 6 gauge wire. So it'd be nice to be a little bit thicker than that, but we're not anything really high, so I don't remember what the current capacity of 6 gauge wire is, but I'm sure it's more than 100 amps. So I use like a sandbar type of resistor like this. Anyway though, let's get this piece on here first, and we can get our furthest connector on the deal. I don't like using this THHN wire because it's not flexible. I mean, it is flexible, but it's large stranded wire, so it's basically what they would use to wire up heavy appliances like air conditioners and stuff like that in a 120, 240 volt situation. Okay, so you now take your black wire here, you put it on the resistor, and you go like that for a second. Just hold it on there, and then quickly put this on here. So in normal circumstances I would have already had this on here, so that I don't have to deal with that. In my case here, I need to move these wires around so that they're not sticking out before I attempt to connect them, because it's easier to bend and move wires first. Okay. And you just need to get it on there. And if you don't do that, you will take a chunk out of the terminal when you touch it on there. It'll spark like crazy. Okay. Seem to be having a little trouble getting around this connector. The boots they sent with this are cool, but they're not the greatest, I guess. So now I'm gonna go ahead and get our junk out of here, put it back in one of the boxes, and we're gonna go in here in a second. Now the way this inverter works, it's not even on right now, which is nice. But if I flip it on, it'll come on. And when it's on, it's on. So basically, it's going to tell me what my voltage is in a very short time. So remember, we were at 13.2. So okay, we're at 26.4 under load, and it is inverting, so that's great. So now what we need to do is go ahead and turn that off though, and we're going to connect our PV again. So we see our solar pop up on here. Now I don't know what the settings are on this one offhand, but it just sits there and it charges the other one, and I've had no issues with it. The blinding LED, so it's going to charge. It's at 26.5. We don't have really good conditions right now, but I wanted to give these a chance to get fully charged without any kind of load on them, so that's why I didn't put them in the other system. So we're going 340 watts, 350 watts. And what I don't like about these inverters is they read in 0.0 kilowatt. So 0.37 kilowatts or 0.38 kilowatts is 380 watts. It's putting 15 amps into the battery right now, which is great, because we know this battery is only at like 30% considering their chart that they provided. We have 57 volts of solar coming in here, and the output is 14.4 or 14.7. So that's 400 watts of solar that it's detecting. Then what we have hooked up to it is 4 panels, and they are 255 watts each or something like that. They're in 2 series, 2 parallel. And all they do is just run this inverter and nothing else. I never run this inverter while it's charging. This is the one I run at night. We don't actually have good conditions right now, so I'm actually surprised that this is doing this well. And you hear it ramp down. You can hear the other one ramping down too, because the sun is being blocked. These numbers on here are probably just something for the inverter itself. It does show us the battery is not fully charged, which is normal. So if it was under load, it would show you how much voltage, etc. So the output or input to the battery is dropping. It's at 100 watts, somewhere around that. 4 amps. I like to look at the amperage, not the watts. To me, that kind of just tells me a little bit more. So we have 1.5 amps going in. The MPPT is doing its thing. Solar is 40 watts. So it's not good. But we just leave them here, and they will sit here and charge. Hey, they even match the color. That's pretty cool. So I'll deal with these later. This is this whole situation over here is a mess. This is a little bit simpler, so we'll just deal with this and leave it like that for now. And the other thing I could do is probably just go ahead and swap this one over there, since it occupies about the space that those things are taking up. But what I don't like about the charging situation over there is we have 3 different charging sources, and I don't like that. And the EP Evers are set differently than the MPP solar, and so I need to go over there and look and see how they're set. But at this point, this battery is completely full. These ones are not. We're running off of this solar here, and we also have the grid assisting through the other unit. This one here isn't really good for doing that. It can do it, but it's an all or nothing kind of situation, whereas this is hybrid. This can supplement with grid power. This will, if the battery and the solar isn't enough to run the load, it will turn it off and switch to grid. Back and forth, back and forth. It's really annoying. This one here will allow you to draw both. So right now the voltage is extremely low right now. That's really crazy. But I can see from over here that my power is really low, 113. So right now everybody and their mama is on the grid, and they're drawing like crazy, which is why it would be nice to be off grid, because right now I'm synced with the grid, which means that that's what this is going to do. And these batteries are so crap that the minute that I undo the grid from here, this thing, a few minutes later, it'll kick off. We hear it clicking. This thing drives me nuts. It clicks off, on and off, on and off. So the biggest problem with this one that I found is that the reconnect times between it overloads and kicks off the charge controller. I think that's why the guy sold it to me. I don't remember my original one having this problem, but the load gets too heavy and the solar just disconnects, which is really bad. So when you have garbage batteries like these and they're having trouble supporting the load and the solar isn't putting out enough power, what happens is solar disconnects. Now the batteries go completely depleted because there's absolutely no solar, and then the unit kicks off, and it kicks back on, and off, and on, and on. And every time it kicks back on, the time it takes for the solar MPPT to reconnect is so slow that it kicks off again. And it's just, I don't know why it is that way. And the up and down buttons are backwards. Now I've run 1.86 megawatts through this thing, so I've been using it a while. But I have two 40 amp charge controllers that are also hooked up, and they're not going to be metered in this. So we've made 142 kilowatt hours for this month. And each day is about 3.6 or 4, somewhere around that, usually, that I see just through this unit. And it could be another 2 for the other, charge controllers. But this is, over a period of hours. So what that basically means is, 3 or 4 hours at like 1,000 watts. We'll be coming here and we'll look and we'll see. We're not putting out crap where they're like, bad conditions. 290 watts, and our load is 1.2, which means the grid is doing all the work right now, really. That's why I didn't want to just throw these batteries in here and have them charging. So as you can see, everything's pretty shaded. I gotta get all the monsoon stuff has literally got us inundated with weeds really bad. I should have come up here with a shovel and just start digging them out. I built this thing just to hold these right there, but it's kind of, I need to have something over here, but we have this mint and all that growing in here. So actually what I should do is probably space these a little further apart so that when it rains, the stuff can get in between there. But these are just some of my panels. So the rest of the other ones that are running everything are over here. And these 4 here are actually what are charging our new batteries. So these are the only monocrystalline panels I have. And I got them from Santan for like, when I say that, Santan Solar. I got them for like $50 a piece, maybe. I mean, they're older. They're not as old as these mono or polycrystalline panels. These are the 240 watt Trina cracked back panels. And I bought a lot of them, and they work. But, I mean, you're not getting 240 watts out of them unless you really, really load the crap out of them and have really perfect sunlight. But what I want to do is get them all in a string. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is it 6? 6 panels. They're 37 volts a piece. So I don't know what that would add up to. But it would allow me to raise the voltage, lower the amperage. So anyway, meanwhile, back at the ranch, we had these hooked up to that guy there on those 4 panels that I just showed you, and they're just going to do their thing. So I've got extra PV wire for when I get some other stuff. I've got like a 40-foot run, a 30-foot run. I had some more stuff for other things. I need to get more heavy-duty battery cable, flexible. I want to get rid of that 6 gauge. You actually sell you this. They were like, oh yeah, we've got everything you need at Santan Solar. They sell you house wire. It's like, thanks, dude. Great. This isn't what I want. This is what you want right here, is this stuff. This is 2 gauge. And so 2 gauge is fine because you're at 24 volts, but for 12 volts, then might have a problem. You could go 0 but it's about the size limit for something like this anyways. So basically, you can only go so big on these. It doesn't say on there, but you just trust me, you can only go so big. So I like this inverter. This one's okay. I've been running this one a year, but I only use this one at night. This one puts out a little bit more RFI. This one puts out RFI. I've got filters on the inputs and outputs inside of here. You can't see them, but there's capacitors across all the inputs. So anyway, it helped a little bit, but it's not perfect. And then you've got these two down here that are doing their thing. And let's see, we got 9 amps coming out of this damn thing right here. 9 amps. Then dropped. So it's all over the place, but this one here probably nothing. So anyway, if I go to 48 volt, I'm gonna have to redo everything. It's gonna be interesting. But the plan is, yes, I'm gonna do that. So I either need another one of these or 2 more of these, and then I'll segregate part of the panels to just 24 volt, and then I'll do 48 on the other, and we'll see how it does. So anyway, I found this to be a pretty good battery. It doesn't have low voltage cutoff or anything like that, but this is it's a lie time. They changed their name from amper time to lie time, and as far as I can tell, it's pretty good. I've had this hooked to that particular inverter, and I would switch on the air conditioning. I don't know, just all different times at night, and run the bedroom air conditioner, which is the window unit that draws like 5 or 6 amps out of a 120 volt wall socket. It would, it's rated 5,000 BTU. I think it's about 5 amps, 6 amps, 500 watts on 120 volts. This would run it if you set the thermostat to 68, 70 degrees. It would run that air conditioner all night, all into the morning and everything. So it's definitely good for that. When I very, very first used it, this is my first ever lithium iron phosphate battery, I was absolutely blown away because I had been experimenting with deep cycle batteries, and particularly these Walmart varieties and other Group 24s. I had a Group 31 also when I was first doing 12 volt stuff, and they've always been very disappointing. Like, I could never run an air conditioner for more than about an hour on these when they were in tip-top shape. You need so many of these to even come close to what one of these can do. Like, even if all 3 of these batteries were brand new, they wouldn't even equal half of one of those, I don't really think. So there's just, at $89 a battery, it just doesn't make sense. And that's at Walmart. So you get these other ones, they're even more than that. You're over $100 for a battery. It's absolutely stupid. And people are still buying these damn things and putting them in their RVs. So there's just no way. You need to get something like this and something like this. Be done with it. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. It's Friday. We will do a live stream here probably pretty soon. And I'm going to try and get a few things done before I do the live stream. So hopefully it'll be a fun and exciting Friday. Be safe out there, guys, and we'll catch you later.